The harsh, fluorescent lights flickered overhead as the steel doors clanged shut behind Maya Bennett. The sound echoed through her body like a final sentence, even though she'd already received hers. 18 months for a crime she still maintained was a misunderstanding. At 25, she'd never imagined she would end up here, Lakeside Women's Correctional Facility. "Keep moving, Bennett," the guard barked, nudging her forward with a stern look. Maya clutched the thin mattress they'd issued her, her knuckles white with tension as she shuffled down the corridor. Eyes followed her from both sides, curious, predatory, indifferent. She kept her gaze fixed on the cement floor, counting the steps that led her deeper into a world she knew nothing about. Cell Block D was quieter than the intake area, but it still hummed with the undercurrent of confinement. Hushed conversations, distant laughter, occasional shouts. Maya's heart pounded against her ribcage as the guard stopped in front of cell 213. "Home, sweet home," the guard said without a trace of humor, unlocking the door. "Your cellmate's in the yard. Counts in 30 minutes. The cell was small, barely enough room for the bunk beds, toilet, and small metal desk bolted to the wall. Maya stood frozen in the center, the mattress still clutched to her chest like a shield. "Top or bottom?" a voice asked from behind her. Maya spun around to find a woman leaning against the doorframe. She was tall and lean with short dark hair that framed sharp cheekbones. Her arms were crossed over her chest, revealing intricate tattoos that wove their way up to her shoulders. What?" Maya stammered. The woman raised an eyebrow. "Bunk. Top or bottom?" "Oh." Maya felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. I don't have a preference." "Take the bottom," the woman said, stepping into the cell. "I'm Alex Reyes." "Maya Bennett." "I know. They tell us when we're getting fresh meat." Maya flinched at the term, and Alex's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "Relax. Just prison talk." Alex moved to sit on the top bunk, her movements fluid and confident. "First time inside?" Maya nodded, finally setting the mattress down on the lower bunk. She began making her bed with the sheets and thin blanket she'd been issued, grateful for something to do with her hands. "What are you in for?" Alex asked. "Embezzlement, but I didn't." Maya stopped herself. "Everyone claimed innocence here. 18 months, you." "Assault, bar fight went sideways," Alex shrugged. "Got another year left." Maya finished making her bed and sat down gingerly on the edge. The silence between them felt thick with unasked questions. "Listen," Alex finally said, leaning over the edge of her bunk to look at Maya. "First day's the hardest. Keep to yourself. Don't make eye contact for too long. Don't take anything from anyone. You'll be fine." Before Maya could respond, a buzzer sounded, and women began filing past their cell. "That's count," Alex explained, jumping down from her bunk. "Stand by your bed until they've counted you." The routine was disorienting. Count, dinner, recreation time, lights out. All dictated by buzzers and guards shouting commands. By the time Maya lay in her bunk that night, staring up at the metal springs above her, exhaustion had settled deep into her bones. "You awake?" Alex whispered in the darkness. "Yeah." "It gets easier," Alex said softly. "Not better, but easier." Maya turned to face the wall, tears finally spilling onto her pillow. She didn't want it to get easier. She didn't want to adapt to this place. She just wanted to go home. The days that followed blurred together in a monotonous rhythm. Maya learned the unwritten rules quickly. Which tables to avoid in the cafeteria, which guards were reasonable, which women to steer clear of. Alex became an unexpected guide, offering quiet warnings and explanations without making it obvious to others. 2 weeks in, Maya found herself in the prison library during her free time, running her fingers along the spines of worn paperbacks. Reading had always been her escape, and she needed that now more than ever. "Looking for anything specific?" Maya turned to find Alex watching her, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Just something to pass the time," Maya replied. Alex reached past her, pulling out a dog-eared copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. Their fingers brushed briefly, and Maya felt an unexpected warmth spread through her chest. "Prison classic," Alex said with a wink. "Revenge, escape, redemption. All the good stuff." Maya took the book, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. "Thanks." As the weeks passed, Maya found herself increasingly aware of Alex, the way she ran her hands through her hair when thinking, her quiet laugh, at inside jokes during meals, the protective stance she took when other inmates got too close to Maya. One night, after a particularly tense dinner where a confrontation had nearly broken out at the next table, Maya lay awake, listening to Alex's steady breathing above her. "Alex," she whispered. Thank you for looking out for me." There was a pause, then the sound of Alex shifting in her bunk. "We all need someone in here." Something in her voice made Maya's heart beat faster. She sat up slowly, finding Alex's face peering down at her from the top bunk, half hidden in shadow. "I've never had anyone look out for me before," Maya admitted. "Not like this." Alex's expression was unreadable in the dim light. "There's a lot of things that happen in here that wouldn't happen out there. Boundaries change, needs change." Maya held her gaze, understanding growing between them like a tangible thing. "Is that why you're helping me? Because boundaries are different?" Alex slipped down from the top bunk, sitting beside Maya on her mattress. The proximity sent Maya's pulse racing. "I'm helping you because I saw something in you that first day," Alex said quietly. "Something real, something that doesn't belong in here." "And what about now?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you see now?" Alex reached out slowly, brushing a strand of hair behind Maya's ear. The touch was electric, forbidden. "I see someone I can't stop thinking about." The confession hung in the air between them, dangerous and thrilling. Maya knew she should pull away, maintain the distance that was safer for both of them. Instead, she found herself leaning closer, drawn by something she couldn't name. "This is crazy," she whispered. "Everything about this place is crazy," Alex replied, her eyes dropping to Maya's lips. "But this might be the only thing that makes sense." When their lips finally met, it was gentle, questioning. Maya had never kissed a woman before, had never even considered it, but Alex's touch ignited something within her that made the prison walls momentarily disappear. They broke apart at the sound of footsteps passing their cell, both breathing heavily. Reality crashed back with the harsh reminder of where they were. "We can't," Maya said, even as her body betrayed her words. Alex nodded slowly, returning to her own bunk without another word. But that night changed everything. The way they looked at each other across crowded rooms, the brief touches as they passed in their cell, the unspoken tension that built between them with each passing day. 3 months into her sentence, Maya realized she was no longer counting the days until her release. She was counting the hours until lights out, when whispered conversations with Alex made her feel more alive than she ever had in the outside world. The prison yard was a concrete island, surrounded by high fences, topped with razor wire, a constant reminder of their captivity. Maya sat on a bench at the edge, watching as Alex played basketball with a group of women from their block. Even here, in this desolate place, Alex moved with an easy confidence that Maya envied. "She's something else, isn't she?" Maya turned to find an older woman she recognized from the laundry detail sitting beside her. Donna, that was her name. "Who?" Maya asked, though she knew exactly who Donna meant. Donna chuckled. "Don't play dumb, honey, Reyes. I've seen how you look at her." Maya's heart stuttered in her chest. "I don't know what you're talking about." Relax, Donna said, lowering her voice. I'm not judging. God knows we all find comfort where we can in here, but be careful. Reyes has a history. Before Maya could ask what she meant, Donna had walked away, leaving her with a knot of anxiety in her stomach. Later, when they were back in their cell, Maya couldn't shake Donna's warning. What did she mean? You have a history, Maya finally asked as Alex read on her bunk. Alex lowered her book slowly. Who said that? Donna, in the yard. She told me to be careful around you. Alex's expression hardened. Donna should mind. Her own business. But what did she mean? Alex sighed, setting her book aside. I had a relationship with someone when I first got here. Carmen. It ended badly. How badly? Prison badly, Alex said tersely. She got obsessive, jealous, started fights with anyone who talked to me, got herself sent to solitary, then transferred. That's the history Donna's talking about. Maya absorbed this information, trying to reconcile it with the Alex she knew. And you're not like that? Obsessive? Alex slid down from her bunk, sitting beside Maya with enough distance to respect her space. I'm not. What happened with Carmen, that was all her, but people talk. They see what they want to see. Maya studied Alex's face, searching for any sign of deception. I don't know how to do this, Alex. In here, with all these eyes watching, with guards who could separate us if they found out. We don't have to do anything, Alex said, though the disappointment in her voice was clear. We can just be cellmates. Nothing more. But they both knew it was too late for that. The connection between them had grown too strong to sever. That night, when the lights went out and the cell block quieted, Alex slipped into Maya's bunk. Their kisses were deeper now, more desperate, hands exploring with growing boldness. We have to be quiet, Alex whispered against Maya's neck. If they catch us. Maya nodded, pulling Alex closer. In that moment, the risk seemed worth it, worth every potential consequence. For the first time since arriving at Lakeside, she felt something other than fear and regret. She felt alive. The following weeks brought a careful dance of secret touches, coded conversations, and stolen moments in blind spots around the prison. They developed a language of their own, subtle signals and gestures that only they understood. It was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. You're different, Maya's workmate Tanya commented one day as they folded laundry. Less scared. Maya kept her eyes on her task. Just getting used to the place, I guess. Tanya snorted. Yeah, and I bet Reyes has nothing to do with that glow you've got lately. Maya's hands froze momentarily. We're just friends. Honey, nobody's just friends with someone they look at the way you look at her. Tanya leaned closer. But you should know, Warden Morris is doing cell reassignments next week. Word is, they're breaking up pairs they think are too close. The news hit Maya like a physical blow. That night, she relayed the information to Alex, who cursed under her breath. We've been careless, Alex said, pacing their small cell. Too many people have noticed. What do we do? Maya asked, panic rising in her throat. The thought of being separated from Alex was unbearable. Alex sat heavily on Maya's bunk. We cool it. In public, we keep our distance. No looking, no talking unless necessary. We give them nothing to see. And in here? Maya gestured to their cell. In here, Alex said, taking Maya's hand. Nothing changes. But we need to be smarter, more careful. The next day brought a new tension as they deliberately avoided each other. Maya sat with different women at meals, joined a different exercise group in the yard. The distance was physical only. Her awareness of Alex never diminished. If anything, it intensified, her senses hyper-attuned to Alex's presence across crowded rooms. 3 days passed in this careful avoidance before Officer Jenkins, one of the more observant guards, approached Maya in the library. Bennett, she said, voice low. A word. Maya followed her to a quiet corner, heart hammering. You and Reyes, Jenkins said without preamble. Whatever's going on, dial it back. Nothing's going on, Maya protested weakly. Jenkins gave her a look that said she wasn't born yesterday. I've been working here 15 years. I know what I'm seeing, and I'm telling you this as a courtesy. Some of the other officers are talking. When they talk, reports get filed. When reports get filed, separation happens. Maya swallowed hard. I understand. Do you? Jenkins studied her. Because Reyes is looking at parole in 6 months. Disciplinary issues could push that back. Think about that. The information stunned Maya. Alex had never mentioned parole. When she confronted her that night, Alex's expression was pained. I didn't want to talk about it, Alex admitted. Didn't want you thinking about me leaving. 6 months, Maya repeated. You could be out in 6 months. Alex took her hand. And you've got 9 months after that. It's not forever. But outside, what happens outside? Are we just some prison fantasy? The question had been haunting Maya for weeks. Alex cupped Maya's face in her hands. Is that what you think this is? A way to pass time? I don't know what this is, Maya whispered. I know how I feel, but this place, it changes everything. How do I know what's real? This is real, Alex said fiercely, pressing her forehead to Maya's. What I feel for you is the most real thing I've known in years. Inside, outside, it doesn't matter. I want you in my life. The declaration hung in the air between them, weighty with promise and uncertainty. Jenkins says we need to be more careful, Maya finally said. For your parole. Alex nodded slowly. Then we'll be careful, but I'm not giving this up. I'm not giving you up. That night, they lay together in Maya's narrow bunk, bodies intertwined in the darkness. Alex traced patterns on Maya's skin, her touch reverent. When I get out, she whispered, I'll wait for you. I'll visit every chance they give me, write you every day. Maya wanted desperately to believe her. 9 months is a long time. The world outside has so many distractions. 9 months is nothing compared to what we could have, Alex replied. I've been in and out of trouble my whole life, Maya. Never had anything worth staying straight for. Now I do. The words settled in Maya's chest, warm and hopeful. For the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future beyond these walls, a life with Alex in it, free from the constraints and judgments of Lakeside. Morning came too quickly, with its harsh lights and louder voices. As they prepared to separate for the day, maintaining their public distance, Alex pressed a small folded paper into Maya's hand. Don't open it yet, she whispered. Wait until you're alone. Throughout her morning shift in the laundry, Maya was acutely aware of the note tucked into her uniform pocket. When she finally found a moment of privacy, she unfolded it with trembling fingers. Inside was a simple sketch, 2 figures standing outside prison gates, hands clasped between them. Beneath it, Alex had written, "This is us. Soon, I promise." Maya traced the lines with her fingertip, tears threatening. She had never allowed herself to hope so desperately for anything. That afternoon, as Maya walked back from her shift, she passed the administration office and overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. "Cell reassignments are final," Warden Morris was saying. "Starting Monday, Block D gets the shuffle." Monday, just 3 days away. Maya's steps faltered as panic gripped her. If she and Alex were separated, everything would change. Their stolen moments, their whispered conversations, their one safe space in this hostile environment, all of it would be lost. She had to warn Alex, had to find a way for them to stay together, because despite all the reasons they shouldn't work, despite the differences in their backgrounds, their experiences, their futures, Maya had never been more certain of anything than she was of her feelings for Alex Reyes. By the time Maya reached their cell, her mind was racing with possibilities. Alex was already there, sitting on her bunk with a book that she wasn't actually reading. "They're reassigning cells on Monday," Maya blurted out, her voice barely above a whisper. "Block D is getting shuffled." Alex's expression darkened. She set her book aside and slid down from her bunk, checking the corridor before closing the distance between them. "Are you sure?" she asked, voice low and urgent. Maya nodded. "I heard Warden Morris myself. It's happening." Alex ran a hand through her short hair, a gesture Maya had come to recognize as a sign of her anxiety. "We need a plan." "What kind of plan could possibly keep us together?" Maya asked. "They're specifically looking to separate people like us." "People like us," Alex repeated, a bitter smile crossing her lips. "You mean people who've found something worth holding on to in this hellhole?" Maya reached for Alex's hand, intertwining their fingers. "Exactly. So what do we do?" They spent the evening whispering strategies, each more unlikely than the last. Bribing a guard was too risky, and neither had the resources. Faking illness might buy them a day or two, but wouldn't prevent the inevitable. By lights out, desperation had settled over them like a heavy blanket. "There's one option we haven't discussed," Alex said, as they lay side by side in Maya's bunk, their voices barely audible. "I could create a distraction, get myself sent to solitary for a few days. By the time I come out, the reassignments would be done." "And how would that help us stay together?" Maya asked. "It wouldn't," Alex admitted, "but they always keep a few cells open for problem inmates." "If I become a problem—" "No," Maya said firmly. "Absolutely not. A disciplinary write-up could affect your parole. I won't let you risk that." Alex kissed her softly. "Then we're out of options." The following morning brought an unexpected opportunity. As the inmates filed into the cafeteria for breakfast, Officer Patel approached Maya. "Bennett, Warden wants to see you." A hush fell over the nearby tables. Being summoned by the warden was rarely good news. Maya caught Alex's eye briefly, before being escorted away, her stomach knotting with anxiety. Warden Morris was a stern woman with shrewd eyes that seemed to miss nothing. She gestured for Maya to sit across from her desk. "Bennett," she began, consulting a file. "You've been a model inmate since arriving. No disciplinary issues, positive reports from work detail." "Thank you, ma'am," Maya said cautiously. "I understand you've been helping some of the other women with their GED prep in the library." Maya nodded. She'd started tutoring informally, using her business background to help with math and writing skills. "We're starting an official education program," the warden continued. "Grant funding finally came through. We need an inmate coordinator, someone responsible with teaching ability. Officer Jenkins suggested you." Hope bloomed in Maya's chest. "I'd be honored, Warden. The position comes with privileges: single cell in the education block, extra commissary, additional phone time." She studied Maya carefully. "But it also means responsibility. You'd be held to a higher standard." A single cell, away from Alex, the very thing she was desperate to avoid. "When would this start?" Maya asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Monday. Cell reassignments are happening anyway, so the timing works." The warden closed the file. "Think about it. Let me know by tomorrow." Maya's mind raced as she was, escorted back to the common area. The opportunity was incredible. Better conditions, meaningful work, privileges that would make her remaining time more bearable. But the cost was losing her nights with Alex, the only thing that had made prison endurable. When she finally had a chance to tell Alex, they were folding laundry together, carefully maintaining their public facade of casual acquaintance. "You have to take it," Alex said immediately, her voice a controlled whisper. "But no buts. This is exactly what you need. Something positive on your record, better conditions." Alex kept her eyes on her work. "It's perfect. It's not perfect, Maya hissed. It separates us. It's exactly what we've been trying to avoid. Alex glanced around before responding. We'll find ways to see each other. Notes, library time. It's only a few months until my parole hearing. And then what? Maya demanded. I'll still have 9 months left. And I'll visit every chance they give me, Alex insisted. This doesn't change anything about how I feel. But it changed everything about their daily reality, and they both knew it. That night, their lovemaking had a desperate edge, both aware that their nights together were numbered. Promise me something, Maya whispered into the darkness. Promise you won't forget me when you're out there. Alex's arms tightened around her. That's not even possible. The next morning, Maya accepted the coordinator position. The weekend passed in a blur of preparation, both for her new role and for the separation that loomed before them. They memorized each other's schedules, identified potential meeting spots, exchanged small tokens to carry with them. Alex gave Maya her most treasured possession, a smooth stone pendant her grandmother had given her, worn on a simple string around her neck. I want you to have it, she said, pressing it into Maya's palm. To remember me by. I could never forget you, Maya replied, echoing Alex's words from nights before. Monday arrived with a heavy finality. Maya packed her few belongings, while Alex stood watching from the doorway, her expression carefully neutral for the benefit of passing guards. This isn't goodbye, Alex said quietly. Just see you later. Maya nodded, unable to trust her voice. As Officer Jenkins arrived to escort her to her new cell, she cast one final glance at the small space that had somehow become home, at the woman who had somehow become everything. The education block was quieter, cleaner, with larger cells designed for single occupancy. Maya's new room had an actual desk, a small bookshelf, even a window, albeit with bars. Under different circumstances, she would have been thrilled. Her days quickly filled with the responsibilities of her new position, organizing classes, tutoring women preparing for their GEDs, meeting with volunteer teachers from outside. The work was satisfying, giving her days purpose. But the nights were hollow, empty of Alex's presence. They managed brief encounters, a few minutes in the library, passing in the yard, shared meals when schedules aligned. Each time, Maya drank in the sight of Alex like water in a desert, storing away details to replay during lonely nights. They passed notes through trusted inmates, small messages that sustained them between meetings. Saw a bird outside my window. Today, thought about how it feels to be free with you. Counting days until I can hold you again, 162 and dropping. 2 weeks into their separation, disaster struck. A fight broke out in the cafeteria, and Alex was caught in the middle. Maya watched in horror from across the room as officers swarmed, unable to see exactly what was happening through the crowd. Later, she learned that Alex had been defending a younger inmate from one of the prison's most notorious bullies. The official report cited her for involvement in an altercation, a maddeningly vague charge that carried serious consequences. 3 days in solitary, a formal disciplinary mark on her record, a potential complication for her parole hearing. Maya was frantic, using every privilege her position afforded to try to get information. When Alex finally returned to general population, they managed a brief moment in the library, hidden between tall shelves. "Are you okay?" Maya whispered, resisting the urge to touch her. Alex nodded, though she looked tired. "Just stir-crazy. Solitary messes with your head. Your parole hearing—" "I don't know," Alex admitted. "My lawyer says it could go either way. Defending someone might work in my favor, or they might just see the fight." Maya fought back tears. "This is my fault. If we hadn't been separated—" "Don't!" Alex cut her off firmly. "This isn't on you. I'd do it again in a heartbeat." Their time was cut short by the arrival of other inmates. As they parted, Alex whispered, "Meet me in the supply closet by the laundry, tomorrow, after work detail." The risk was enormous. Unauthorized areas were strictly off-limits to inmates. Discovery could mean solitary for both of them, the loss of Maya's position, further complications for Alex's parole. But the promise of even a few minutes alone together was too powerful to resist. The next day, Maya's heart pounded as she slipped away from her education duties, making her way casually toward the laundry. The corridor was momentarily empty as she reached for the supply closet door, sliding inside the small, dimly lit space. Alex was already there, waiting. They came together in a desperate embrace, months of constraint and caution evaporating in an instant. "I've missed you so much," Maya breathed against Alex's lips. "Every night, every day." "I know," Alex whispered back, hands framing Maya's face. "Me too, all the time." The closet was cramped, filled with cleaning supplies and laundry detergent, but it felt like paradise after so long apart. They kissed deeply, hands relearning each other's bodies with urgent need. "We don't have much time," Alex said reluctantly. 5 minutes, maybe less." Maya nodded, pressing closer. "I don't care. I just need this. Need you." They lost themselves, in each other, the outside world fading away. So completely, in fact, that they didn't hear the approaching footsteps until it was too late. The door swung open, flooding the small space with harsh, fluorescent light. Officer Jenkins stood in the doorway, her expression a complicated mix of disappointment and resignation. "Bennett," she said with a heavy sigh. "Reyes, both of you, out. Now." Reality crashed back with devastating force. As they were escorted to the warden's office, Maya felt a strange calm descend. Whatever came next, they would face it together. That was something, at least. But as they stood before Warden Morris, awaiting her judgment, Maya couldn't help wondering if their love, born in confinement, nurtured in secrecy, could possibly survive what was to come. Warden Morris's office seemed to shrink around them as she studied both women with calculated silence. Maya fought to keep her breathing steady, acutely aware of Alex standing rigidly beside her. "Unauthorized area," the warden finally said, tapping her pen against a disciplinary form. "That's an automatic write-up for both of you." Maya stepped forward. "It was my idea, Warden. Alex was just—" "Don't," Alex interrupted sharply. "Don't try to take the blame." The warden held up a hand. "I'm not interested in who initiated—" "What? The fact is, you were both where you shouldn't be, doing what you shouldn't be doing." She leaned back in her chair, studying them with narrowed eyes. "Reyes, your parole hearing is in 3 weeks. This could postpone that by months, possibly longer." Alex's jaw clenched, but she remained silent. "And you, Bennett," the warden continued, turning to Maya, "you've jeopardized your position as education coordinator, a position, I might add, that many inmates would give anything for." Maya felt sick. Everything they'd worked for, the careful plans they'd made, all of it crumbling around them because of one desperate moment of weakness. "However," the warden continued, surprising them both, "Officer Jenkins has made a rather passionate appeal on your behalf, Reyes. She seems to think your recent disciplinary issue, defending a younger inmate, shows character rather than a problem with authority." Hope flickered in Maya's chest. "And you, Bennett, have made significant improvements to our education program in just 2 weeks." The warden tapped her pen thoughtfully. "So, I'm faced with a dilemma. Prison regulations demand punishment, but losing either of you from your current positions would be counterproductive." She set down her pen. "Here's what's going to happen. You'll both receive official warnings, one more infraction, any infraction, and there will be serious consequences. Reyes, you'll have additional work detail for the next 2 weeks. Bennett, you'll lose commissary privileges for the same period." Maya exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. This is your only warning, the warden added firmly. Whatever is between you, and don't insult my intelligence by denying there's something. It needs to wait until you're both outside these walls. Am I clear? Yes, warden, they answered in unison. As they were escorted from the office, Maya caught Alex's eye briefly. The message was clear. They had dodged a bullet. They couldn't risk another. The following weeks were an exercise in restraint. They limited their interactions to public spaces, always in the presence of others. Notes were too risky now, so they resorted to small gestures, a lingering glance across the cafeteria, a casual touch when passing in corridors. It wasn't enough, but it had to be. Alex's parole hearing loomed larger as the date approached. Maya tried to focus on her education work, filling her days with teaching and paperwork, but her thoughts constantly drifted to the future. What would happen when Alex left? Would her feelings change once she tasted freedom? Would she really wait 9 long months for Maya's release? The night before the hearing, they managed a brief conversation in the library, seated at opposite ends of a study table with books open between them. Nervous? Maya asked quietly, pretending to point out something on a page. Alex gave a slight nod. Terrified. You've got this, Maya encouraged. Your record's been clean except for defending someone. That counts for something. It's not the hearing I'm most afraid of, Alex admitted, her voice barely audible. It's leaving you. Maya's heart clenched. But that's what we've been working toward, your freedom. Freedom without you feels like a different kind of prison. Alex's eyes met hers, filled with an intensity that took Maya's breath away. Hey, Maya said firmly, 9 months, that's all we have to get through. Then we have the rest of our lives. Alex smiled faintly. You sound so sure. I am sure, Maya replied, surprised to realize how deeply she meant it. The only good thing about this place was finding you. I'm not letting that go. Their conversation was cut short by the librarian announcing closing time. As they stood to leave, Alex whispered, Whatever happens tomorrow, remember that I love you. It was the first time either had said those words aloud. Maya wanted desperately to respond, to say the words that had been building in her heart for months. Instead, she gave a small nod, hoping Alex could read everything she couldn't say in her eyes. Maya didn't sleep that night, her mind cycling through every possible outcome of the hearing. By morning, her nerves were as frayed as Alex's must be. The day dragged endlessly. Maya went through her teaching duties mechanically, checking the clock every few minutes. The parole hearing was scheduled for 2 p.m. By 3, the entire prison was buzzing with speculation. Heard your girlfriend's getting out, Tanya commented during afternoon recreation. Maya's head snapped up. What? How do you know? Tanya shrugged. My cousin works in admin, said the board voted unanimous. Hope and dread tangled in Maya's chest. If it was true, if Alex was really getting out, everything was about to change. Confirmation came during dinner, when Alex entered the cafeteria with a look of stunned disbelief on her face. Their eyes met across the room, and Maya knew immediately. The parole had been granted. Alex was leaving. Processing out took time, paperwork, exit interviews, property return. 3 days of bureaucratic procedures before an inmate could walk free. 3 days for Maya and Alex to come to terms with their imminent separation. On Alex's final evening, Maya received a note passed through. A sympathetic library volunteer, yard, last shift. Our spot. Their spot was a secluded corner of the exercise yard, partly hidden by the equipment shed. As the sun began to set on Alex's last day at Lakeside, Maya made her way there, heart hammering with the risk they were taking. Alex was waiting, her back against the wall, eyes scanning constantly for guards. When she saw Maya, her face softened with such naked emotion that Maya nearly broke down. I had to see you, Alex said as Maya reached her. Couldn't leave without saying goodbye properly. They stood inches apart, not touching, both painfully aware of the guards patrolling the perimeter. "It's not goodbye," Maya insisted. "It's just until later." Alex reached into her pocket, withdrawing a small folded paper. "My sister's address and phone number. I'll be staying with her until I get on my feet. Write to me every week." Maya took the paper, tucking it carefully into her bra. "I will, and you'll visit?" "Every visitor day they'll allow," Alex promised. "And I'll be there when you walk out, 9 months from now." They both knew how fragile such promises could be. The outside world was full of temptations, complications, distractions. 9 months was a lifetime. "Listen to me," Alex said urgently, risking a quick touch to Maya's hand. "What we found here, it shouldn't have been possible, it shouldn't have worked, but it did. That means something." Maya nodded, fighting tears. "It means everything." A guard's voice called out the 5-minute warning before the end of yard time. Their time was running out. "I need to hear you say it," Alex whispered. "Just once before I go." Maya knew exactly what she meant. The words she hadn't been able to say in the library. The truth she'd been carrying in her heart. "I love you," she said, her voice steady despite the tears threatening. "I love you, Alex." A dazzling smile broke across Alex's face. "I'm going to build something out there, for both of us, something to come home to." "Home," Maya repeated, the word filled with promise. They parted without touching, without the kiss they both desperately wanted. Some goodbyes were too precious, too dangerous for prison walls. The next morning, Maya watched from the window of the education block as a small group of newly released inmates walked toward the front gates. She recognized Alex immediately, her confident stride, the set of her shoulders. At the gate, just before stepping through to freedom, Alex paused and looked back, her eyes scanning the building as if she could somehow find Maya among the many windows. Maya pressed her palm against the glass, a gesture Alex couldn't possibly see from that distance. Then the gates opened, and Alex stepped through, disappearing from view. The days that followed were harder than Maya had anticipated. The prison routine continued unchanged, indifferent to her loss. She threw herself into her work, expanding the education program, volunteering for additional responsibilities, anything to fill the hours. Alex's first letter arrived 2 weeks later, full of details about the outside world, her sister's apartment in Portland, a job interview at a local garage, the overwhelming sensation of grocery stores after years of prison. Food. "I look for you everywhere," she wrote. "In crowds, on buses, in restaurants. It's like my heart hasn't caught up to the fact that you're still there. 9 months seems impossible now, but we've survived worse. We'll survive this too." Maya read the letter until the paper grew soft from handling. She wrote back the same day, pouring her heart onto the page. Their correspondence became her lifeline. Weekly letters filled with daily minutiae, future plans, and the deep longing that never seemed to diminish. The first visit was the hardest. Seeing Alex across the visitor's room table, unable to touch, except for a brief embrace at beginning and end, it was its own special torture. But Alex kept her promise, visiting every 2 weeks without fail. She came with stories of her new life, her new job at the garage, the small apartment she was saving for. "It'll be ready when you get out," she promised. "Our place." 5 months into their separation, Maya received unexpected news. Her sentence was being reduced for good behavior and program participation. 3 months instead of 9. Freedom was suddenly much closer than she'd dared to hope. When Alex visited that weekend, Maya could barely contain her excitement. "December," she revealed. "I'll be out in December." Alex's face lit up with joy. That's incredible. Just in time for Christmas." They began counting down days rather than months. Alex's letters grew more detailed about their future, the neighborhood where she'd found an apartment, the community college courses she was taking in business management, ideas for the small auto repair shop she dreamed of opening someday. "I want to build something legitimate," she wrote, "something that lasts, something we can be proud of together." On a cold December morning, Maya stood at the processing desk, receiving her civilian clothes and the few possessions she'd entered with nearly a year before. Officer Jenkins handed her the final paperwork with a rare smile. "Got plans out there, Bennett?" Maya thought of Alex, waiting beyond the gates, of the apartment they would share, the life they would build together, of the love that had somehow flourished in the most unlikely of places. "Yes," she said with absolute certainty. "I've got everything planned." She walked through the same gates she'd watched Alex pass through 6 months earlier. The winter air bit at her cheeks, shockingly fresh after months of recycled prison air. And there, just as promised, was Alex, leaning against an old Subaru, her face breaking into a brilliant smile as Maya appeared. They ran to each other, embracing without restraint for the first time in the open air of freedom. When their lips finally met, it felt like coming home. "I can't believe you're really here," Alex whispered, holding Maya's face in her hands. "Sometimes I thought I'd imagined you, that something so good couldn't be real." Maya smiled through tears. "I'm real, we're real, and we have all the time in the world now." As they drove away from Lakeside, the prison growing smaller in the rearview mirror, Maya felt the weight of her sentence finally lift. Ahead lay uncertainty, challenges, the hard work of building a life together in a world that might not understand how they'd found each other. But beside her was the woman who had transformed her darkest days into something precious, the woman who had taught her that love could flourish in the most barren of places, the woman who had waited faithfully for her freedom. "Ready?" Alex asked, reaching for her hand across the console. Maya intertwined their fingers, feeling the promise in that simple touch. "Ready for everything,"